Welcome to Blue Talks.
All right, Harvard, good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Awesome. Well, what a beautiful morning. As I was driving through this campus today, it made me think about my talk. My talk's about amplifying your voice. How many thousands of graduates from this school alone have used their voice to make a difference in this world? I can think of a few right off the top of my head. Helen Keller, she's blind and deaf and yet led a women's revolution for women's rights. How about former President Barack Obama? He graduated from this school too. And one of my favorite poets and philosophers, Henry David Thoreau, he also graduated from here. And one of his quotes, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've always imagined." That has been, actually it was written by my parents on my graduation yearbook in high school. And it's kind of been like my North Star for my business. And it's kind of been like my North Star to guiding me the last few years. So it's kind of cool to think about that this morning on the way here. So how many of you guys know that you have a message to share with the world? Put up your hand. Yes, I'm in the right room. All right. And how many of you know that using your voice to share that message with the world is a powerful tool? Yes, awesome. Well, I want to share with you about amplifying your voice. Now, I am passionate about amplifying your voice. And as you heard in my bio in this introduction, thousands and thousands of voices have been going through my company, through podcasts that we've produced. And it's been so great to see people step into their power and really feel their power and step into it and then share their message with the world. I'm going to take you back to 2012. 2012 seems like a long time ago. And I became a new mom. And I loved becoming a new mom. And it was one of my dreams my whole life to be a mom. And I remember playing on the floor with my son. And I had been in business for 7 years already. I had a fitness studio, boot camp locations. I had a co-working space, a digital marketing company. And so having a baby really slowed me down, which was a good thing, slowed me down. But after a few months of lying on the floor, playing goo goo gaga, like my business brain is gone to mush. I don't know how many of you moms out there can relate. There's something about the lack of sleep, lack of personal time and space made my business brain go to mush. Looking back now, I can see I was heading into some postpartum depression, for sure. But something saved me. And I remember sitting on the floor with my son one day, and I looked up at my TV. I'm like, hey, what else can I be doing while we're playing here? He's only a few months old. So I turned on the Apple TV. Anyone seen a purple app on the Apple TV, this little purple button? Anyone know what I'm talking about? Podcast app. 2012. There was only a few shows on there. Turned on this purple app and I found this show, The Eventual Millionaire by Jamie Tardy. I was like, oh, what's this? We started listening to it. 150 episodes later, I was still listening to it. This is amazing. Starting to feel better. Starting to get my mojo back. Starting to feel motivated again about business and life. I put my earbuds on every Monday morning when I knew she was going to release an episode. Put my son in the stroller, we'd go for a walk to the park. I was like, yes, I'm starting to feel good again. And of course, it was just helping me getting out and walking in, out of the house and all that. So it was helping my own mental health. And it made me think, wow, what if this podcasting thing could help people share their message and it would have an impact like it's having on me right now? Holy smokes, this is something really cool. So I called my friends, my mom friends, hey, what podcasts do you guys listen to? Their response I got, what the hell is a podcast? What are you talking about? I was like, okay, that's weird. Why don't they not know what I'm talking about? It's on my Apple TV. And then when I was even more excited, when I got into the car, And I can connect my phone to the car, and there was a purple app on my phone too, on my car dashboard. Amazing. I could listen to it in my car. And I could listen to it on my phone. Yet, they still didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, why? I don't know why people aren't getting this. I was patient. I waited and waited and waited. And in the meanwhile, I started a group called Vancouver Podcasters Meetup Group. Started learning about podcasting. Started having people come and really learn about podcasting. And I became really addicted to this thing because as a tool for making a change in someone's life, like it had the impact on me, I was like, wow, there's really something to this tool. Yet nobody's talking about it. I don't get it. Fast forward a few years, finally, I see it on TV. I'm starting to hear people talking about it. I was like, yes, this is great. My company's already launched 30 people's podcasts because as people were starting to ask me about podcasting, I started learning about it. I started helping them get their message out into the world. Yet, I still didn't have my own podcast. And I share that because there's a real reason I didn't have my own podcast. And it's maybe the reason maybe some of you don't have a podcast yet either. I was afraid. I was afraid of my own voice. I was afraid of nobody's going to listen. I was afraid maybe that people would listen. And then all of a sudden I would be so busy and I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I was also afraid, who am I to talk about anything? I also couldn't get committed to an idea. Couldn't get committed to, what do I want to talk about? What message do I want to share? 4 years went by. Meanwhile, we were helping others get their message out into the world. I still couldn't figure out what my message was until one day I was like, duh. It's helping people get their message into the world through podcasting. That is my message. Wow, that was an epiphany. So finally I embraced that. I was like, no, that can't, for a while I was like, that can't be my message. That seems silly. But after watching so many of my clients be brave and share their message, it's like, yeah, I can do that too. So we launched a podcast called Amplify You. We launched a business called Amplify You because we really want to amplify you, your voice, your message, your mission. And it was really cool what happened. We said, we don't want to work with anybody except for people who are out there making a big positive impact in the world. They have a message that's going to change people's lives. The second I said that, the next person came through our door was my good friend Karen Kinney. She's from Massachusetts. And she says, she has this great Boston accent. And she said, oh, one of my second guests on the show is going to be Marianne Williamson. You guys know Marianne Williamson, Hay House author? I was like, oh my gosh. I wanted to be like the Hay House of podcasting. We're gathering people who want to learn about personal development, want to learn about podcasting, want to make that difference in the world. And as soon as we said that we wanted to be like that, this is who came through the door. I was like, well, that's a sign. Great, we're on the right track. One of Marianne Williamson's quotes that I love, and I'm not going to say the whole thing because I'll butcher it, but it's, we're not afraid of our own inadequacies. We're afraid of the powerful being we are, right? She says it more beautifully than I can say it, but get the idea. We're not afraid of being inadequate, but we are afraid of the powerful, amazing person that we are. And so, yes, having my own shows helped me kind of see the steps people go through. And I had to have been scared of my own message and had to have gone through all those things so I can help people through it now. Because if I didn't go through that myself, it would be a lot harder to help other people because wouldn't understand. So understanding what it's like to feel like an imposter, right? What's cool about podcasting is that you don't need to be an expert. There's 2.8 million podcasts out there right now. 2 years ago, before the pandemic, there was 1 million. It's grown a lot. There's a lot more people that have got the courage to step up and share their voice with the world. There's a couple of different ways. You don't have to have your own podcast. You can be a guest. And actually, one of the things that I started with was going on and sharing my message as a guest on shows. And actually, one show that I went on, I also had the person on my show. That one interview, we've made multiple six figures from that one interview because we decided to start a program together. It's amazing what can happen through podcast interviews. I have another client who went on a podcast as a guest. The host was asking her so many questions about her personal and her past that she discovered that she had so much trauma in her past, and it led her on a healing journey that then she's able to now share on her own podcast. So starting off by being a guest is one way that you can start to get your message out there. It's probably the easiest way to start getting out there if you want to have your own show. The second way is having your own show, of course. Now, having your own show is great because you get to have a platform. You get to share your message with the world. You get to share your message. You get to start building a group of people who are, yes, I want to follow you on this journey. But the best podcasts out there, there's a reason a lot of our podcasters that we've worked with are in the top 5% of all shows out there. It's not because they're any more brilliant than any other show. It's because of the way they speak to the audience. They're not out there being the experts. They're out there taking their clients and their listeners on a journey of them discovering who they are, discovering their message, and helping them overcome something. And usually it's what they've already overcome themselves, right? Just a few steps ahead. That's all you need to be. So that's what makes a really great podcaster. So there's a few things you need to get through. So you need to get through that imposter syndrome, right? And that imposter syndrome takes some confidence to get through it. But turning on a microphone, oh my gosh, magic happens when you turn on a microphone. The personal development that comes through you and the evolution you as a person goes through in the first 20 episodes is incredible. And I always say there's something called pod fade out there. Pod fade happens when you stop podcasting after a few episodes and peter out and fade out. And that usually happens when you're trying to be the expert. You run out of things to say or you run out of steam on a topic. And so by sharing your journey and being like the detective that's sharing your journey and going along and discovering things along the way and interviewing people and sharing a bit of your own journey, that's what makes a podcast sustain for a lot longer. Hundreds of episodes in, right? So imposter syndrome, getting over that one, turn on the microphone and get going. You don't need to feel like you're an imposter. You are brave, you have a voice, and you certainly have a message that needs to get out there in the world. The other thing that happens is this procrastination thing. Procrastination. Okay, but I don't have the website ready. Okay, but I can't decide on the cover art. For me, I can't decide what I want to talk about, right? I did the procrastination thing too. Procrastination comes, oh my gosh. We have this saying in our business that if you are not embarrassed by your first few episodes, you'll waited too damn long to put them out there, right? And so small, imperfect action is going to get you over the finish line with perfectionism. And the third one is this fear, right? This fear that, who am I? And it's kind of like the imposter syndrome, but it's more that we fear our light, right? We fear that we're going to shine. We fear millions of people are going to hear our message, right? And so my answer to that again is just turn on the microphone and start going. Start getting your message out there in the world. Once you start sharing your message, oh my gosh, things happen. Movements are created. Imagine back to the beginning of my story of if these Harvard graduates hadn't shared their message, like Barack Obama and Helen Keller and Henry David Thoreau, oh my gosh, our world would be a different place. So who and what kind of world are we going to be in when you share your message? Yes, what kind of impact are you going to make? Can't tell you how many countless podcasters we work with who say, Michelle, I got a message from a mom who is about to lose it all. And she listened to my podcast. Now she's getting help. Or I had a teenager reach out to me who was scared about coming out. And because of my podcast, his whole family's now in my program and I can support them. Like so many great messages like that. And when the audience reaches out to you as the host, oh my gosh, you know you're making a difference in the world. You know you're making an impact. And it's such a great place to be in. So you have a voice, you have a message. Do you not think it's our duty to get it out there? Can you agree with me on that one? Yes. So what I'd love for you guys to do, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise, Michelle, that I am going to be brave. And I know that my uniqueness, is my genius. And I promise to share it with the world. Okay, thank you. I'm going to hold you guys to that. So, your uniqueness is your genius. And amplifying it to the world just happens to be mine. Thank you, everyone.